we will going to discuss about the cultural studies. Firstly, we will start from the introduction of cultural studies. Like what is the meaning of cultural studies basically? Culture includes the organization of production, structure of the family, the structure of institutions which express or govern social relationship, the characteristics forms through which member of the society communication. For cultural studies, today, cultural objects are simultaneously events and experiences produced out of and thrown back into a social focuses field constitute universal by power flow, status, hierarchies, and opportunities also. In this, by borrowing freely from social sciences, disciplines, and all branches of humanities, sociology, linguistics, literary criticism, and philosophy, etc. Cultural studies aims to understand and changes the structure of dominance everywhere, but in industrial capitalist society in a particular. It doesn't know have a clearly defined subject area. It is used to describe and study a whole range of practices, and it also lacks its own principles, theories, or methods clearly. A major concept is here that it has a concrete form, it refers to something other than itself, it can be recognized by the most people as a sign. Cultural studies are basically derived from the Center for Contemporary Cultural Study at the University of Birmingham, established in 1964. The founding father of the cultural study are Richard Hogarth, Raymond Williams, E. P. Thompson, and Stuart Hall. They also concern with the changing of English cultural life. Cultural studies basically the joins subjectively culture in relation to individual lives with engagement, a direct approach to attacking social ills. Through cultural studies, practitioners deny humanism or the humanities, a universal category they strive for what they might call social reason. Other resembles the goals and values of humanistic and democratic ideals. Individual subjectively is culturally constructed, such as notion taken to a philosophical extreme, denies the autonomy of the individual, whether an actual person or a character in literature, and into the arena of a whole society everyday life as it is constructed. In this, cultural studies also involves the scrutinizing the cultural phenomena of a text. I'm giving you example here that Italian opera, a Latino telenovela, the architectural style of prisons, body perching, and drawing conclusion about the change in textual phenomena over time. And it is not necessarily about the literature in the traditional sense or even about art. In this, community refers to a group which shares common experiences that shape the way its members understand the world. It includes the groups that we are born into, such as race, national origin, gender, class, or religion. And it can also include a group we join or become a part of it. In the additions that culture provides the important social and economic benefits with improved the learning and health, increased tolerance and opportunities to come together with others. Culture enhances our quality of life and increases overall well-being for both individuals and communities. I'm giving you also example of the community in the cultural studies interest, that is the image of a city, a local language, and the brand of Barolo wine, an artistic movement, traditional knowledge held by indigenous communities, and the creativity expressed by the designers and artists communities. In another hand, intercultural communication refers to the communication between people from two different cultures. Intercultural communication is a symbolic, interpretive, transactional, contextual process in which people from different cultures created shared meanings. Basically, cross-cultural skills, you will be able to express yourself with confidence and understand how to be a patient with other people who are not from a similar background. It will also provide a great opportunity to meet fellow students from other cultures and discuss your differences. In this, first is the communication is about the cultural studies. So it is an interdisciplinary field of research that examines the cultural context, elements, and impact of messages that emanate from the media. Its research encompasses literary criticism, communication, political science, sociology, economics, and cultural anthropology. In this, cultural communication pertains to the use of language and other communicative means to carry out the activities and commitments of their particular communities in and through the use of symbolic resources. These resources include the verbal and non-verbal means as well as the rules for using and interpreting them. Next one is the language. So language and cultural studies field of study is designed to provide students the opportunity to develop and enhance their practical communication skills and cross-cultural understanding that will provide them the foundational coursework required for careers in languages and cultural studies also. Languages always carries the meanings and references beyond itself. The meanings of a particular language represent the culture of a particular social group. To interact with the language means to do so with the culture which is its references point, because a particular language point to the culture of a particular social group. Next one is the discourse. In the discourse, focused on discursive dynamics. Cultural discourse has been defined as a historically transmitted expressive system of communication practices, of acts, events, and styles, which are composed of specific symbolic symbols, forms, norms, and their meanings clearly. Basically, it is an approach to the study of communication which explores culturally distinctive communication practices in our world. Next one is the representation. Representation is basically a heart of the meaning process in culture. Then are two related systems of representation. First, it is enables us to give meaning to the world by constructing a set of correspondence or a chain of equivalences between things. That is the people, objects, events, abstract ideas, etc. Basically, a representation means the act of doing something on behalf of another or others. The state of doing something on behalf of the another or the other. Next one is the media. Media has a great impact on our daily life in 24 hours, every minute, every second, and everywhere, because it outlets or tools used to store and deliver information or data. The term refers to components of the mass media communication industry such as a print media, publishing, the new media, photography, cinema, cinematography, broadcasting, digital media, and advertising also, because advertising, marketing, and critique associated with the media and their productioning and their meaning dissemination also. The development of early writing and paper enabling longer distance communication system such as a mail, fax, which can be interpreted as early forms of the media. Another farming of the history of media starts with the painting and continues with other ways to carry human communication beyond the short range of voice, smoke signals, trade markets, and sculpture. The term media basically to identify as one of the means of channels of general communication, information, or entertainment in society as newspaper, radio, or television. Is also modern application relating to communication channels was first used by Canadian communication theorist Marshall McLuhan, who started in Counterblast in 1954. Basically, the media are not toys. They should not be in the hands of Mother Goose and Peter Pan executives. They can be entrusted only to new artists because they are art forms. The phrase mass media was, according to H.L. Mencken, used as early as 1923 in the United States. Next one is the mass media. Mass media basically refers to diverse array of the media technologies that reach a large audience via mass communication. The technologies through which this communication takes place include a variety of outlets. Broadcast media transmits the information electronically via media such as film, radio, recorded music, and television. It is basically the media technologies used to disseminate information to a wide audiences. The messages are communicated through television, movies, advertising, radio, the internet, magazines, and newspaper. Similarly, about the mass communication. So, mass communication can be defined as the process of creating, sending, receiving, analyzing messages to a large audiences via verbal and written media. It is an expensive field that considered not only how and why a message is created, but the medium through which it is sent. In this, channels in mass media include the television, radio, social media, and print media. I'm giving you example here. We can include the commercial advertising, public relations, journalism, and political campaigning also. In this, firstly, we will create a markets. Basically, mass marketing or a create marketing is a marketing strategy in which a firm decides to ignore the market segments, differences, and appeal the whole market with one offer or one strategy, which supports the idea of broadcasting a message that will reach the largest number of the people possible. Traditionally, mass marketing has focused on the radio, television, and newspaper as the media used to reach these broad audiences. Next one is the influence opinion. So, influence of the mass media has an effect on the many aspects of a human life, which can include the voting a certain way, individual views and beliefs, or suing a person's knowledge of a specific topic due to bring provided false information. Not all effects result in change. Some media messages reinforces an existing beliefs. The next one is the reproduction. Basically, media cultural reproduction means the recording, copying, or reproducing the records by any photographic, photostatic, microfilm, microcard, miniature photographic, optical disc that is not erasable, or other process which actually reproduces or forms a durable medium for reproducing the original, the reproduction, or a copy, etc. Firstly, we will discuss in the reproduction, that is social values. So social values are a set of the principles that are morally acceptable by their society. These principles are created by the dynamic of the community, institutions in the society, traditions, and cultural beliefs of the people in the society. The laws are a guide for people in society on how to conduct themselves appropriately. Next one is the oppressions. So oppression is malicious or unjust treatment or exercise of the power, often under the guise of the governmental authority or cultural obromium. So oppression may be overt to covert depending on how it is practiced. Next one is inequalities. So inequalities, it is therefore are a wide varieties of the economics inequality, most notably measured using the distribution of income and the distribution of wealth. Besides economic inequality between countries or a state, there are important types of economic inequality between different groups of the people, because social inequality refers to disparities in the distribution of economic assets and income, as well as between the overall qualities and luxury of each person's existence within a society. While economic inequality is caused by the unequal accumulation of wealth, social inequality exists become the lack of the wealth in. Next one is the media culture. Media culture basically refers to the current Western capitalist society that emerged and developed from the 20th century under the influence of mass media. This includes the traditional television, film, newspaper, and radio. The 20th century was shaped by the broadcast media, whereby entire nations received their news, information, and entertainment from a small number of media companies. This resulted in shaped opinion, attitudes, and worldviews at great scales. Media culture refers to the current Western capitalist and conveys the idea that such culture is the product of their mass media. Here is the media culture versus provocations. It means that the act of provoking, incitement, something that provokes and arouses or stimulates. That we have to do something just to get a reaction. We have to smoke that another person that they have to do this. And I'm giving you an example that provocation is defined as something that gets someone to act, especially out of irritation. It's prompting someone to sweat. It is the example of the provocations. Next one is the cultural studies. In the cultural studies, when I'm talking to you, includes the television serials, films, political programs, advertisements, and cultural studies analysis. So basically, in the cultural studies, how people can adopt easily the different kind of cultures with the help of these kinds of platforms. When I'm talking about the example of the TV serials, if you know about the Kamolika in Kasauti Zindagi Ki, so Kamolika's accessory was too like famous. His accessory basically too famous because its design was so amazing. And similarly, Saath Nibhana Saathiya serials, Gopi's mother-in-law's bindi was so amazing, so large, and it was so favorable because audiences can easily grab these kind of cultures with the help of the TV serials, films, ads, and so on. Because with the help of these kinds of platform, audiences know about the latest trends, latest designs, latest culture, cultural reveals, cultural beliefs, and their ethics also. Next one is the intersection. If I am talking you about the intersections, so in this we will discuss about the communication technologies. We have a great kind of technologies and a very new kind of technologies, that is, first of all, we have a laptops, we have a Android phones, we have a proper kind of facilities, we have a social media platforms for the communication, we have a different kinds of apps, we have a different kinds of transactions tool. With the help of, we can do everything within a second also. Here is technologies plus media culture plus marketing overall merged in this called the exploration. Because if I'm talking you about the exploration, in the exploration we can explore all kind of things, that what I'm doing and what I'm going to do. Next one is the marketing tools. Here we have a different kind of tool with the help of we can do easily spread and talk with our audiences clearly and easily. We have a Hindi films. 80s and 20s Hindi films are seriously so amazing and creative and entertaining also, because their costumes, their personalities, their languages, so these all kinds of old pictures can understood and inform us about the different kind of cultures. So thank you so much. I hope you clear about the cultural studies clearly.